Hey everybody, it's Jeff Ramos with another video about a magical timer that helps me get more stuff done with less time, which I know sounds like a lot of marketing BS, but honestly, I've been using this technique for years and it's really helped me do a lot, and I want to tell you all about the Pomodoro Technique. But first, I'm going to clean my glasses. So in the 1980s, someone named Francesco Cirillo grabbed their tomato kitchen timer and tried out this technique, and it has blossomed into a whole industry of apps and even a consulting firm for our friend Francisco. It's helped me and it's helped millions, probably of others, do a lot of really great stuff in a short amount of time. But why should you even use a fancy technique to get things done? You just have to do the thing, right? Well, for someone like me, I get distracted super easily. The last video I made on this channel is about why I bought a fidget cube in the year 2020. It's because I get pretty distracted, and with this world, it's pretty easy to get distracted by just about anything. And so the Pomodoro Technique locks down the time that I can get work done. It gives me a structured, undistracted chunk of time to do things, and a lot of little breaks in between to make sure I don't get overwhelmed doing any of the things that I need to get done in any given day. You can think of it like when you go to the gym. You're not just doing all the pull-ups you can in one go and then moving on to the next. You're taking little breaks in between to give your body some time to rest so you can do the maximum amount of pull-ups you can do. And if you're someone like me who can barely do pull-ups anyway, that might not be a great analogy, but you understand what I'm talking about. So what is this Pomodoro Technique that I keep talking about? Turns out it's super simple to implement. First, you just pick a task that you want to do. Could be literally anything. Then you set a 25-minute timer to get that task done. And in that 25 minutes of time, you do not distract yourself with anything. You literally just spend all those 25 minutes working on that individual task. At the end of 25 minutes, you give yourself a 3 to 5 minute break. My cat is trying to get in again, just like last video. She ran into the room and then immediately ran out. Okay, okay, let's start over. So first, to start the Pomodoro Technique, you pick a task that you want to do and you devote 25 minutes of uninterrupted work to it. At the end of those 25 minutes, you give yourself a 3 to 5 minute break. At the end of those 3 to 5 minutes, you start another 25 minutes of uninterrupted work. Once you've done at least 4 Pomodoros, you give yourself a 15 to 30 minute break. And then you start the process all over again. It's pretty simple. Okay, so why do you even want to work in a 25-minute chunk of time? I believe that 25 minutes is a really good amount of time to work uninterrupted. It's not a lot of individual time, and it's not a small amount of time. 25 minutes is still a pretty good time to get your work done uninterrupted without feeling bad if you're ignoring Slack or text messages or group text. You can still get back to that time when you take your 3 to 5 minute breaks. Also, 25 minutes doesn't seem daunting, so you never feel like you're about to take on a lot of work all at once. 25 minutes is pretty manageable for most things, even for things you might find a little bit boring but you just have to get done that day. Those 3 to 5 minute breaks are really good because it's enough time that you can take a breather without feeling like you're totally removing yourself from the work. Now you can use those 3 to 5 minutes in a bunch of different ways. You can use it to, go on the internet for a few minutes, although I try not to recommend that for people because it's super easy to get distracted. You can also use those 3 to 5 minute breaks to review the work you've done to make sure you're on track, to make sure you are doing the right task next, or maybe move some tasks around. Either way, those 3 to 5 minutes are not actual hard work time, but just time to review or just take a little mental rest. And what about those longer breaks, those 15 to 30 minute breaks? Those are a really good time to get a lot of other decompressing done. You can get up and use the bathroom, you can go grab a snack, you can go grab a drink, you can go grab a cup of coffee. You can invest a little bit of time going into Slack and responding to messages you might have missed, looking at your email, looking at any group texts or group chats that you're doing. Just try not to get too distracted if you are doing something where you're chatting with other people and having an ongoing conversation. But I still think 15 to 30 minutes is really great to take a break. Now, I understand for most people, you may not be in a work environment where you can totally take off from what you're doing for 15 to 30 minutes in the middle of the day, and that's fine. You could still use that time to evaluate the work that you've done, maybe shut down or minimize the application or whatever you're working on and just review the work that you've done. Make sure that everything looks right. Make sure you understand what you're doing next. Make sure that there aren't other things you need to put on your task list. But it's still technically work. It's not just the hardcore actual work, but it's still just making sure everything is working the way it should be working while you're getting into this very specific mode of working. Now, I also understand that the Pomodoro Technique sounds like a really rigid way to work, and for a lot of people that might seem scary or unnecessary or even weird. But if you've never worked in a way like this, I ask you to just consider giving it a shot. I started doing the Pomodoro Technique for two specific reasons. First, I learned that I can get pretty distracted while trying to do work, even if I'm like, if the work I'm working on stops for a second, or I'm like waiting for a file to load or something like that, I will go on Twitter and all of a sudden fall into a hole, and all of a sudden 10-15 minutes have passed by and I lost track of what I was doing. And so, hey, that's why I bought a fidget cube, and you can watch that video wherever the links show up on YouTube nowadays. But I like that really tight structure because it helps me focus in on the work and just gives me a little time to take breathers in between. I also found that the Pomodoro Technique has been super helpful when I'm really invested in something I want to do. So if I'm learning something, if I'm on an online course, or I'm researching something online, or just reading a book that I really like to learn something new, it helps me not feel mentally overwhelmed. Because sometimes when I'm really into something and I'm learning a lot of stuff all at once, it can feel like too much, and I feel like I'm taking in information before I practically can even apply it and make sure that I understand what I just learned. So when I'm learning something I really like, I do still do the Pomodoro Technique. If I'm taking an online course, I'll watch a video or two, take those 3 to 5 minute breaks, and at the end of 2 hours or so of work, which is about 4 Pomodoros, I'll actually take that 15 to 30 minute break to try to apply what I've learned. So for instance, right now I'm learning music theory, and so I'll take that time to actually see if I can redo what I just learned. Am I actually learning something? Have the lessons I learned made sense, and can I apply it to what I want to do? So I found that the Pomodoro Technique is really helpful for A, not getting super distracted in work days and getting as much as you can done and not inflating the size of simple tasks, and B, not to get overwhelmed when you really are super deep and super motivated to do something. So if you want to try the Pomodoro Technique, how should you get started? Honestly, you probably have one of these, you probably have a smartphone. Just use the timer that's on your smartphone. It's free and it comes with it, and you can give it a shot. Just put in a 25-minute timer. When it goes off, put a 3 to 5 minute timer. Keep doing that until you take your longer break. Put in a 15 to 30 minute timer and see how that works for you. Once you get comfortable using this technique, then I'd recommend going and trying out some apps. And there's tons for Android, for iOS, for macOS, for Windows, for your Zune probably. But I would say try the technique first on the simplest way you can do it and see if it works. And then if you really do like it, dig deeper into the community and the apps and all the different things you can learn with it, and then try doing that later. So if this video has helped you in any way, please let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. That's always helpful. But I started this channel mainly because I wanted to take all the things that I do in my day-to-day life to help me do more work, to help myself be more motivated, and give those tools to other people. So if this helps in any way, if you tried it, leave a comment below. In fact, I would recommend maybe trying this out for a week or so and then coming back to this video and leaving a comment. And if you follow me on Twitter, which is @OJeffRamos, I'll probably tweet this link a few times anyway, so maybe in a week or so after you've watched this, you'll probably see me tweet. Go back, leave me a comment on Twitter or reply in this video and let me know if it's helped you. And if you're the type of person who already has a time management or project management technique that you've been doing, that you found really helpful, also leave that in the comments, because that's something I would love to learn to try, and maybe people who are watching this video might also think it's interesting and they might want to try other techniques themselves. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope learning about the Pomodoro Technique will help you get more stuff done in less time, or just feel better about the work you get done every single day. Until then, until next time probably, my name is Jeff Ramos and I'm from the internet. Recorded it twice because it's such a nice topic. Topic so nice, record a video about it twice. This time we have the right mic on. Let's hope. Let's pray.